folks, and welcome to the Digital Weather Desk powered by Century Next Bank. Every time I try to just rattle it off so fast, my mouth goes, slow down, dude. Century Next Bank, the exclusive banking partner of the Digital Weather Desk. Thanks so much for joining us midday. A look at low temperatures this morning, and these are unofficial, of course, but they'll probably be official. El Dorado at 19, Monroe at 23, Monticello at 19, Camden at 18. Vicksburg 21, Natchez 23. I went through some of the other low temperatures from across the area this morning. Most of us generally right at 20, upper teens, right at 19, 20, 21. There were some spots 23, 24, but most of us pretty much checking out where we expected to be this morning. Was this a record? Not by any stretch. A look at the top 10 coldest December 15ths on record at the Monroe Airport. We will get into the top 10. But we will not be in the top 5. We will be tied for 6th. So there's something. El Dorado, not a record, but again, top 10. Tying 2004 at 19 degrees. And again, that's assuming that those low temperatures stand where they are. Currently, most spots have climbed above freezing. There are some locations along the Mississippi Valley still hovering near the freezing mark or just below. So, again, just be aware of that there are some areas spending more time below freezing than others. A look at temperatures across the area from the Louisiana Mesonet, which is operated by the University of Louisiana Monroe. They have Lake Providence at 32.8. So we're getting there. I have the map here has Lake Providence at 30, but I would think that they are climbing to or above freezing at this hour. Dew points, air's quite dry. Dry air, cold, dense, dry air typically cools down pretty quickly at night. So while we will see winds swing back around to the southeast and south overnight, those winds are fairly light, and most of us will return to the freezing mark. You'll see that in just a minute. Wind speeds have not been much of an issue today with high pressure kind of plopped right over the top of us, so wind chills are not terrible. They're not great. I mean, it's not comfortable outside by any stretch, but they're not doing any additional damage to the already cold temperatures. And again, low temperatures tonight dropping back below freezing for most locations. 26 in Vicksburg, 29 Natchez, 28 Monroe. Could see the mid-20s in some spots across southern Arkansas. Checking the visible satellite, and again, no cloud cover across the region. We've got some cold air cumulus out over the northern Gulf, and aside from that, pretty quiet day across the region. Radar products, as always, made possible by Brown's Roofing. Schedule your free roof inspection now at brownsroofingla.com. Don't wait till the weather gets bad to get that kind of stuff inspected and taken care of. Go to the National Loop, and much of the central and southern United States is dry to start the work week off. We've got onshore storm system bringing some rain across the Pacific Northwest, which is pretty common for this time of year, and then some Great Lake snowfall. Also pretty common for this time of year. But again, everybody's sandwiched in somewhere in between. Generally fairly quiet. Check out the water vapor imagery, and again, you can kind of see the northerly flow with this Arctic air that has surged into the central and eastern United States. It is not going to hang around for too terribly long, though. We're kind of on the far southwestern fringe of this cold air mass that's moving in, so that means that when you're on the outer edges of it, that air mass tends to modify rather quickly. This is a look at the mid-levels of the atmosphere. Think about 20,000 feet up-ish. Now let's go a little bit higher than that. The upper levels of the atmosphere, 30,000 feet-ish in the atmosphere. And as we go toward Wednesday, weak disturbance could maybe drum up a few showers. It really just leads to an increase in cloud cover across the area. You'll see that with another Futurecast product in just a second. And then a stronger cold front sweeps through the area Thursday. Could bring a few thunderstorms depending on how things pan out. Right now it looks to just be a brief cool down with some scattered showers and thunderstorms. The severe weather threat looks fairly limited. Behind that boundary, what we call zonal flow aloft, which means that pretty much everything's just going to pass in the upper levels of the atmosphere from west to east without a lot of interruption and not a lot of big disturbances. No big storm systems taking cold air and surging it southward. Not a lot of strong ridging aloft, so it's just kind of status quo, if you will, we will likely see a climb temperature-wise above normal for this time of year. But if you don't see any big dips in the jet stream, and this is kind of what we're looking at, then obviously there's no big significant storm systems. There's no big clashes of air mass that can lead to big thunderstorm potential. No significant cool downs. In fact, temperatures look to trend above normal through the middle and end of this month. Here's what I was talking about in terms of Futurecast and the potential for some cloud cover and rainfall on Wednesday. Again, a few high clouds could sneak in overnight. Some computer models a little bit more suggestive about bringing the cloud cover in toward daybreak tomorrow. I call it mostly clear skies, but the clouds should increase pretty gradually through the day on Tuesday. And then that weak disturbance maybe scours out a few showers early Wednesday. A lot of leftover cloud cover ahead of the cold front that moves through on Thursday. Again, this particular model output is not overly aggressive in rain coverage, but I wouldn't be surprised to see a fairly decent fetch of showers and thunderstorms along the boundary itself. It sweeps through, skies clear behind it, a little bit cooler for Friday, and then temperatures rebound through the upcoming weekend. Speaking of the cool down for Friday, a look at Futurecast shows the cold front making its way through the day on Thursday. Morning lows bottoming out in the upper end of the 30s or mid-30s for Friday morning, which I will say is a good 5 to 8 to maybe even 10 degrees cooler than initially thought over the weekend. When I was building the forecast Friday, Saturday, it looked like we were going to stay in the 40s for Friday morning. That no longer appears to be the case. Gloria, hello. Thank you so much for joining in. So this front actually does have some colder air attached to it. Nothing drastic, but a little bit cooler than initially thought. Temperatures start rebounding Friday afternoon, probably back into the 50s. 60s to near 70 on Saturday. Mid-70s possibly in some areas by Sunday. We are headed to Arkansas to celebrate Christmas with the Arkansas side of the family this weekend, and I may be able to wear shorts. Always something weird around Christmas in this part of the country. Sonia, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining in, and same to you, Onethia. Thank you for taking time out of your day. Forecast highs today, generally in the low to mid-40s. Again, the forecast has been overworked since you joined me this morning, so you can check out the latest numbers for your area at digitalweatherdesk.com and on the Digital Weather Desk app. Winds will stay out of the east-northeast for much of the day, but they'll swing back around to the east and maybe even the south by daybreak tomorrow. A few clouds could join in as well with overnight lows, in the upper end of the 20s. Mid-20s for some, but back below freezing, and back below freezing for an appreciable period of time. One of those nights where probably not a bad idea to leave the faucets dripping. I think most homes probably wouldn't have an issue, but considering how much time we've spent below freezing today and how much time we'll spend below freezing tonight, it's very much an err on the side of caution thing. May good afternoon to you as well. A lot of folks have a lot of speculations about the leaving the faucets dripping. Does it make that big of a difference? You know, I would say 9 times out of 10, most homes are okay. The only time we've ever had a significant water issue with pipes freezing was, hello, Steve, was back in the ice storm, was it 2021? And we had an outside water line that we weren't aware of that froze. And that was also a record time below freezing. So, again, it's always an err on the side of caution. Would you rather spend hundreds of dollars getting your house cleaned up after a pipe bursts and you have to have drywall ripped out and an emergency plumber cost, and then you have to have it all put back together and all that stuff, or just a few extra cents or maybe $1 or $2 in water costs just to leave the faucets dripping? I wonder how much it costs to do that. That's not important. 7-day forecast made possible by 3B Hardware shows the sharp warm-up for Wednesday, cold front Thursday. Rain chances may be a smidge overdone for Thursday. I know you're going, Jared, you make the rain chances. I know that. I put 50% in, and I don't like 50%. I like 40. But the model data says 50. So I'm gonna roll with 50 for right now. If things continue to change, we may have to bump them back down to 40. A little bit cooler for Friday. Weekend is warm. Low to mid 70s. Morning lows climb from the low 40s Saturday morning to near 60 on Sunday morning. No big significant signals for thunderstorms or severe weather or anything like that. I don't want to say it too loudly because I don't want that to show up. And again, if you haven't been joining us, the forecast going into Christmas Day and beyond, really for the second half of the month of December, is above average temperatures. So that's how things shake out. Midday on this Monday, December 15th. Like I said, forecast has had a complete refresh. Really, the only things that you'll see that are significantly changed, the rain chances for Thursday, temperatures for Friday, and then we tweaked the overnight lows for tonight, daytime highs for today, and all those things. But most of those numbers are not egregiously different than where we left them over the weekend. Hello, Susie, and I hope you're staying warm as well. Again, forecast is always available at digitalweatherdesk.com and on the app. I'll join you a little bit later today. Fishing Game comes out later tonight, and that's about it. Hey, congratulations to our state championship football teams, the Sterlington Panthers and the Ouachita Lions. While we were working on the forecast and getting ready for cold, they were bringing home hardware. And also a special shout-out to my good friend Mike Downhour, who just wrapped up over 3 decades of Ouachita Lion football play-by-play, and the guy went out on top. Pretty awesome. Last game to broadcast, state championship, and a thriller. We'll catch you later today. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. Stay warm out there. Prepare for tonight as we drop back below freezing. Enjoy your Monday, and thanks so much for stopping by the Digital Weather Desk, powered by Century Next Bank.